most importantly about this movie is that it's kind of it's kind of weird as we go on from that point on, where the characters are just, I don't know. All right, so I'm gonna end that right there. So we're gonna get into the premise of of what I think of this movie so far, the plot as general, before I go ahead and stock up on what else I need to get to. So the plot, I don't think nobody ever thought of this idea where the director's like, okay, all right, writers room, we need a movie that no one ever thought of. And the movie itself, the idea is genius. The idea is very genius of having, I'm gonna get into something that probably make people mad, but the idea was genius, but like the screenplay wasn't there with the idea. And what I mean by that is like, okay, the idea is very cool to have a beach slash thing. I don't know what this movie count as genealogy. Is it genealogy or geology? But I don't know. I don't think it would be counted as that. I'm talking about something else that would make sense. I don't think it would be counted as that because it's stupid to come out my mouth. But I count this more as a thing where you think it's super. The screenplay has you confused, okay? Because it makes you think that it is. It gives me the vibe. Okay, you watch, you think, okay, is it supernatural? Because they're aging fast, and it's like that's not scientifically possible to age fast. But they slightly explain why, but they never explain. Is it because of nature, or is it because of things happen with the earth? They never really explained it. It's always been like the other way around for this movie. And what I mean by that, you find out that it's actually scientists that are using them as guinea pigs to like figure out diseases, how long. And the reason I'm explaining. So the mom has a tumor, like I said earlier, and the tumor, things grow up. Like I say, things get older / grow faster out there. Excuse me. So the tumor grows at the size of a cantaloupe, basically, and it's like this huge. It's kind of disgusting when you describe the tumor. The tumor is like this huge, and so they're cutting it out of her. They get it out of her, and like she's cured of her cancer, so she has nothing to worry about. And by the way, when you get injured on this side of the beach, I was gonna call it island because it looks more like the movie like we're on an island than a beach. So when you get into the movie, you see that you can't really die out there. You can die, and that's another thing I don't understand either. So we'll get to that part next. Okay, so they cut it out, and she heals. She heals. It apparently, like, you know how wounds take time to heal, and basically when if you were to cut yourself out there, over there that side of the island where the resort is, that private side of the island resort where the resort is at, other side of the island, you heal like really fast, and it becomes just a scar. So the doctor, I'm all over the place, I think, with what I'm talking about. But this is it's not going to be probably not be a chronological order. The stuff I'm talking about, like the scenes. Like I said, I'm just doing like plots, like like the plots and stuff, like settings and everything. How I feel about the screenwriting and plays and stuff. So don't expect I'm telling a review as an order of scenes. This is basically like a review of how the movie was set up from the point A to the end of point B. So anyway. This doesn't make any sense either. So the rapper that I was talking about gets freaking stabbed later on by the doctor, not the nurse, the doctor. So the doctor that's there with his wife, with his child named Tara. This is so stupid, by the way. Okay, so he has Alzheimer's. So keep this in mind. He's the one that later on, yeah, he's the one that cuts the tumor and helps cut the tumor out of the wife that had cancer. So he cuts the tumor out of her. That's the one that cut the tumor. So he cuts he cuts the black. He first cuts the black guy. That's the rapper. The African American guy. That's the rapper. Correction. He 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 cuts him and he stabs him. Okay. So on this island, like I said, this doesn't make any sense where they put a plot hole at. And this is where they messed up at with the line of plot was that because if you have an island that can, if you get cut or stabbed or something, it heals over time. So tell me, the black guy gets stabbed to death by the doctor that had Alzheimer's because he doesn't know what he's doing, does not understand what he's doing towards him. So he stabs him, kills him. You see my point? He kills him. It doesn't make sense because if you are getting stabbed on an island that basically can heal your sicknesses and diseases, like diseases that are like not mental diseases, but more like this internal diseases that are got to do with like a body part or like internal organs or such. But that doesn't make any sense. So the guy was getting stabbed by a knife, by the doctor's pocket knife, which is like the length of the blade is like this short, which I don't understand how he would die. But like they were already gonna die anyway because they were aging. But still, it doesn't make sense because the girl that was having seizures doesn't have seizures anymore on this island. But later on, she has one. That doesn't make any sense either. But later on, she has one, but she suddenly has a seizure later on because the island was what? It's the plot is so confusing and how it's written because it contradicts itself and certain stuff. I don't know because they're like, well, this film has to push itself forward by killing people because it has to make the plot move forward for the other, I guess, final characters to survive. All right, so the amounts of people that died in this movie is like 8 people. By the way, the couple, the doctor that had Alzheimer's, and his wife, the one that dies there on as well. So they had a dog that died too because dogs die faster than a human because dogs get older than humans, and their lifespan is kind of long. Not it's long, but it's not long enough. It's kind of short. It's span of dog years. So the dog aged fast and it dies. And there's so many questions to this movie that has me want to put my middle finger up to it because it makes me mad at some parts. Like it has some parts that's like, oh, this is interesting, and then it's like, what are we doing? There's some plot holes that needs to be discussed. So jump forward. Trent and the couple, the man and like the main characters, the little kid's mom, the one that had the tumor, and the dad, I'm gonna say the divorcing parents. So the divorcing parents that are the kids. That's wrong. Okay, so the kids are their children. The one that's divorcing. Their children are aging as well. So this doesn't make sense either. The children are aging because the sister's like what 12 or 13 when she gets there. She's like 12 years old. So when the sister gets there, she ages up to like 14 or 15. And the little boy Trent is hit puberty because boys hit puberty I think early than girls. If I'm not mistaken, correct me. But mostly that's really weird to me. And from apart from that, about explaining the healing stuff. So okay, so we're going back to the deaths. So we're gonna go to the deaths. The deaths, mostly the older people die, and yeah, like I expected at least one of them to live. it was a waste. It was some wasted characters, you know, here and there. Like, I think one wasted character was the mother. Because, like, what was the point of cutting her tumor out just for her to die anyway, being cured for cancer and just to die? That was weird and crazy. Like, that was very weird. So we have the nurse slash doctor guy. We're gonna call him just the nurse. So the nurse is dead. He died in like halfway part through the movie when they're trying to find a way off of the beach because they're trying to swim halfway to the coral, like where the coral is, to escape around it. But every time here's the thing I forgot to mention. Every time they try to go back from where they came from or escape, they black out for some odd reason. They just black out. So they tried to do that with him because he was a good swimmer, the nurse, which is so stupid because you wasted a valuable asset to the group. But go watch the videos. Shout out to the dude that do how to beat stuff too. Go watch his videos. He'll explain more in depth why losing your doctor slash nurse, more sane nurse at that aspect is stupid to send out at that point. So they send him out. He drowns, by the way, because the girl, Trent's sister, which is probably the only person I liked in this movie. I think that's why I can't remember his name. Yeah, he was like one of my favorite characters too, him and the rapper. But I can't remember the rapper's name because he had a weird long name. I don't know. He had a weird name. That's why I can't remember him. So, yeah, he's dead. Like, the carnage count in this movie is like at least 7 to 8 adults, plus a dog. But I guess we count living things as that. So the doctor dies, the nurse dies, his wife dies, and the doctor, okay, let's do it right. The doctor dies, okay? That doctor's wife dies. The nurse died, and his wife died. Then the main couple slash characters, they both died too. Two of the parents died, and then the doctor and the doctor's wife, child, Tara. I think her name is Terry, something like that. Terry. I'm called Terry. Tara for short. So I think it's Tara. I think that's her name. Tara. Weird name, if that is her name. Tara dies from rock climbing, trying to escape, and plus the dog. We have 5 of them already. So the rapper dies as well. And yeah, I think 8 people dies in this movie. And also, yeah, that's 8 people. 8 people died. And it was 10 of them, I think, in total. Which is I think it was, a ratio of 10 people. 5 people. Because I think that's the number they were trying to do. The organization. Because this was their 73rd trial. So, I'm going to wrap up the movie review / podcast. The podcast up with this. When they escaped, they had one way out, which was the coral reef. It was like a hole through the coral. But it was dangerous because you can drown down there. So they made it through, but the movie makes it seem like they didn't make it, but they did. I'll show you guys what I meant by they escaped. I meant by Trent and his sister. So, excuse me for not putting emphasis on who I was talking about. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. Excuse me. So they make it through, and turns out they were being watched by the people at the resort. They have this whole organization making medicine from, I guess, the beach, quote unquote, because they put something in their drinks, and that's when you're like confused. Or you're like, is it the beach or is it the medicine they put inside their drink? Like those cocktails, I'm gonna say cocktail drugs in their drinks. It's confusing. It's very confusing. You have to watch the movie yourself. So I'm gonna wrap up the podcast right about here, but I'm gonna leave some like main bullet points. All right. So bullet point number 1 is, let's go over. Bullet point number one to me is like the writing is kind of weird. I didn't like the writing of this movie because it contradicted some stuff. Didn't explain much. It only leaves you to, I don't know, just leaves you kind of asking yourself, what was this movie basically lesson? There was like no lesson. I know some movies don't have to teach you a lesson, but like, what was the morals of the organization? I would love to see a prequel to like explaining the organization and like the products. Do the products actually do help people or will it harm people? And it's so weird how the plot is. Guys, this plot is making me like finna drive myself nuts. So bullet point number two is okay. How did they said something about magnetism? The magnetism of Earth affects these rocks in the movie early on when they figure out what's going on, kind of. And number three, what happens to Trent and his sister, and how do they explain their story? But then they go back to that. But never, I think they can kind of be answered. But will people believe them because they gave a cop that journal they discovered about what's really going on to the cop? But make sure you guys tell me what you think. Those are like my 3 bullet points for now. But maybe I'm wrong about this movie. Maybe this is a good movie. Maybe I'm just taking too much about it. But tell me what you guys think. But I still have my opinion. The movie is garbage. It's just straight up garbage. I don't like it. Maybe you liked it. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe, like I say, more of a movie depth person where I look for good screenplay timing on certain stuff that wasn't there in the movie for me, I guess. But the movie was boring. Already, like I said, I gave y'all a rating already. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next podcast. Probably like Scream or something, the new Scream later on next year, and another movie that's not like a off low budget film maybe. But let me know, guys, what you think and comment down below what you think about this movie. And I'll see you guys on the next podcast Thursday. And I will be doing a Chucky series reaction soon. And deuces.